I've spoken about TeddySwap before, and I thought it was quite interesting in how they're approaching the DeFi ecosystem on Cardano. Very similar approach to how MinSwap did everything with their fair ISO and distributing their tokens out that way and really engaging with the community and the various state pool operators in the Cardano ecosystem.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.
Now, a couple of other things have sparked my interest just recently. Now, I'm not an investor in this project. I'm not involved with the team at all. It's just a couple of things I'm seeing on Twitter and what they're doing in general that sparked my interest. This first one here, this one is proof of Cardano. Now, this was brought to me by Nexus Stake. Now, they applied to be a whitelisting stake pool for our NFT drop, that thing back there, the WAPU, and he brought up the this tool that they've been building out, Proof of Cardano, and this really pulls in all the data and the stats across the various different projects that are committing code to GitHub. It's a repository where codes are stored and decentralized, and TeddySwap was coming up number one consistently for the amount of commits and activity that was coming through on the Cardano ecosystem in general. So I thought that was really cool and interesting to note. And I thought I'd check into TeddySwap and see what the guys were doing. And they're doing some really, really interesting things at the moment. So for those that don't know, this is TeddySwap in general. They're building a stablecoin focused decentralized exchange on Cardano. Now this includes assets like IUSD, JED, Shen, and I'm assuming ADA, of course, and other really popular tokens so that users can trade efficiently across those particular tokens. So they're focusing on that. So they do have a specific niche, which is pretty good, pretty interesting. Now, I dug in a little bit deeper and had a look at the tokens. There's quite a few tokens through this one here, so it's a very high supply cap. I didn't see a total here, but just glancing at the numbers, it's a lot higher than some of the other projects. I think it's, I have to find the exact number, but have a look down below for the links and you'll be able to find it all there. The other thing I looked into was the team and who were behind this one here, and it's actually quite a few well-known names and other people that have been building in the Cardano ecosystem and also the Ergo ecosystem. So if you have a look here at Clark Alesna, he's been around the Cardano ecosystem for quite a while. And for those that don't know, back when Hosky token first launched, I think it was in late 2021, November 2021, he built a really basic swap DEX, essentially a really basic order matching DEX for Hosky tokens. So that may have very well been the very first DEX on Cardano before Muesli swap, but I'm not entirely sure of those dates. But that allowed people to swap and trade tokens. It was a little bit clunky, a little bit slow, but hey, sure, it worked. So that was really, really cool. So and Mikkel here I've interviewed as well. He's from Harmonic Labs and is the creator of PluTS, the Pluto smart contracts in TypeScript. So if you're a TypeScript developer, which is a very, very common programming language, you'll be able to write your Pluto smart contracts in TypeScript and then have that compiled into the native Plutus language and have it executed as a smart contract on the blockchain. So, there's quite a few well-known names here. I don't know these two developers here. I have to do a little bit more digging. But then you have a look at the advisors. We've got Frosty from Aneta BTC and then also Marty from Ergopedia as well. So they've got a couple of heavy hitters within the ecosystem and people that I've spoken to and interviewed on the podcast before. You can find all the links down below. Now, also, they're working with Saturn Labs here, and I had to have a look at Saturn Labs and work out exactly who they were. I haven't heard of them before, but they are doing quite a bit of development in the Ergo ecosystem as well. Having a look at some of the projects that they're working on. So ErgoPad, Padilla, so that's probably where Marty comes into play here, but also the Tossitrop side of things. That would come into play with a Neta BTC. Oh, yeah, the Neta BTC, of course. So that's probably where those particular skills come from. And Proof of Cardano, I guess, Nexus Stake Pool are part of this Saturn Labs too. So it's quite interesting to see what these guys are working on and building out. Now, I know Clark is also working for the Cardano Foundation, so he's doing work around that, and also we're doing work for DC Spark too. So it's pretty cool that it's an experienced team that's been working in the Cardano ecosystem for a while. Now, the other really interesting thing that came up was Clark. He put out this image here. Let me just zoom into this image so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. Now, this particular image here is of a node, but not just any node. This is a Cardano node that is running a batcher. A batcher. What kind of batcher? One of the batches for TeddySwap in particular. Now, for those that don't know, all of these dexes on Cardano at the moment, well, majority of them, MinSwap, SundaySwap, Wing Riders, they all have some sort of agent or batcher mechanism that collates the transactions and swaps, processes them, and then puts them onto the Cardano blockchain and sends out the resulting swaps to the various wallets and people that had initiated them. Now, this batcher ecosystem is actually a closed ecosystem for a lot of these dexes. So Wing Riders do plan to open that up and open up the batcher system. I believe MinSwap is behind that as well, and eventually open it up to a lot more people. And SundaySwap is pretty much the same. They have the 30 stake pool operators that created the initial batcher system from their ISO, their SundaySwap ISO that they did back in 2021. So that created a trusted network of users or operators that would process those particular transactions. Now, that's to help protect what goes through the DEX and protect the transactions that go through that as well. So I guess having control over that makes it a little bit more secure and a little bit more fair. But in this case here, the TeddySwap team have decided to go out and expand that and allow anyone to be a batcher. Now, a lot of these batcher platforms have fees on it, and this is the incentive for the batcher to operate and run in the most possible authentic way possible, because that way they get those batcher fees. So I don't know what their batcher fees are going to be on the TeddySwap platform, but this opening of it allows anyone to start being a batcher for the TeddySwap DEX. I believe this is a really good approach because it also allows anyone to participate within the ecosystem as an operator. It helps decentralize the DEX as well, because of that tiny little batching mechanism can now be more decentralized and allows more people to be participant within the ecosystem. So I really like that approach. Now, of course, as soon as I asked about it, Clark here said, yes, anyone can be a batcher. I saw this article come out the next day. So of course, they were working on this and making it a public announcement. And you can see the GitHub repository here, where you can find out more information about how to actually run a TeddySwap batcher. And if you're interested in it, if you're running a Cardano node at the moment, this may be an opportunity for you guys to actually become a batcher. Or if you're not running a Cardano stake pool at the moment, you could just spin up a node and become a batcher too. So it's all quite possible to be able to go through the system and do be a part of this. So it's pretty cool. Now, I've mentioned in my other videos, the ISPO update videos, that they were doing this fair initial stake offering, and they've updated their website now where you can actually stake directly from the website. So you can click on that. That would interact with your connected wallet, and then you'll be able to delegate directly to one of these stake pools that are part of their fair initial stake pool offerings. So there's quite a few here that you can go through, and you can click on any of those stake pools and delegate directly to them, or you can find them via their ticker and delegate that way. I'm actually delegated to Rabbit at the moment. Their live stake is about 8.1 million ADA, which is pretty good. So I'm hoping this initiative has helped a lot of these small stake pool operators grow in terms of their size. Now here we can also see the stats as well. So total amount of ADA across across all the pools, the total growth over the last 24 hours, and the total growth last hour there. So it's pretty cool to actually see those stats and see what kind of impact this fair initial stake pool offering has across these various pools. So that's pretty cool. Now, as a part of this as well, they have this TBCWL. What does that stand for? Teddy Bear Club Whitelist. And I had to check into this. I had no idea what was going on, but they have this extra NFT that you can purchase that will boost the rewards for your staked ADA within one of these stake pools. So they've got a breakdown here. They've got the website. I've completely missed this minting. So if you're watching this, you would have missed it as well, unless you actually did know about it. But you can go through here and get one of these Teddy Bear ISPO NFTs. I'll just go to the website here, and they've got a breakdown of what you'll receive. So you receive 10,000 to 28,000 Teddy tokens per NFT based on its rarity, and a couple of boosts there. You can read. I know most of you guys can read, right? So that's I don't need to read it for you. But like I said, you can't mint these anymore, but they are available on the secondary market, and they are selling for quite a bit of a high price. That's a little bit high on the ADA side of things. And you can see the activity here. Not a huge amount of trading activity, but they are selling for last sale price there for the 350. Now, from what I can see, they didn't sell out a massive amount of these. If you look at the policy ID, this is a policy ID of the Teddy Bear Club NFTs. You can see 805 were minted in total. So not a massive amount. Some NFT projects sell like 10,000 of them. So 800 is actually quite small. Now in a bear market, that's pretty hard to mint at the moment. And I have to say the Teddy Swap whole campaign and DEX and marketing and all that is still quite small at the moment. So it's one of those smaller projects that may grow in size over time. Now, the last thing I want to bring to your attention is their incentivized testnet, which has just launched. So their public testnet is now launched, and you can go through and actually start using their DEX through the testnet platform. So this is pretty cool and pretty exciting, and you do get rewarded for it. Like I said, if you go through, test their DEX, find bugs, find language things that aren't right, whatever it is, you can go through and submit some of your responses to this particular process and get rewarded for it. They do have a very generous amount of rewards here. They have 3 million Teddy tokens. What are they worth at the moment? Not much, pretty much close to zero. We have to see where that goes eventually over time, so that will get some value. And as people start providing liquidity to the DEX in the future, we'll see more value come into the ecosystem then. But at the moment, it's worth zero. So just so you know, they have information down here about how testing is scored and what type of points you'll get for it. So have a little read over that, and it's quite interesting in seeing that the actual DEX itself is up and running on testnet. So we're pretty close to a launch product here, which is really good, considering that I've only heard about this project, I think in early January of this year. Now, if you do want to give the DEX a go, you can launch the testnet directly from their website at teddyswap.org. It's connected to the preview network. You can connect your wallet up. You can connect any of these ones here. I'll use NAMI in this case. Now, a pop-up will appear asking you to connect to the website, and you have to make sure that you've set your wallet to the testnet network. So in this case, I'm using preview. So make sure you set your wallet up to preview so you can actually start using it. There's also a faucet that you need to use, so you can transfer some test ADA to that particular wallet. And then from there, you can start playing around with the DEX and going through all the various tasks, swaps, providing liquidity, and everything else around it. So that's it. That's all I have for you guys in this video about TeddySwap, their update, everything that the team is doing at the moment on their DEX. I just have to congratulate the guys for getting to this point. Again, another team that are doing it without VC funding or anything like that. So it's commendable to you guys. I do want to see an audit and everything else around it, because if we're providing liquidity to a DEX, I do want to make sure that every safety precaution has been taken to ensure ensure that users' digital crypto assets are as safe as possible as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing that audit come through whenever it can. Now, that's it for me for this video. I'll put all the show notes down below so that you guys can find out a little bit more information about it. If you go to the website, learncardano.io, you should be able to find everything there as well. But until next time, I'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.